Good afternoon. My name is Stephen Kempinski, and I'm going to perform an analog project to help illustrate a Vulcanian eruption. I was very excited when I learned we were able to perform our own experiment because I saw this as an opportunity to blow something up and call it science. So I began brainstorming and realized a Vulcanian eruption would be the perfect type of eruption to try and replicate. Many Vulcanian eruptions typically occur when a vent gets plugged up by solidified material. This allows the viscous material to build up pressure until it finally surpasses the yield strength of the blocked vent. The result is a small to moderate sized explosion that occurs seconds to minutes apart, throwing blocks at velocities ranging from 200 to 400 meters per second. So for my project, I knew I needed to mimic the buildup of pressure to the point of surpassing an object's yield strength. To mimic this, I am going to pump balloons with a bike pump until they pop. My variable is going to be how many balloons I have fit inside each other. This will increase the yield strength, which I believe will then shoot pieces of the balloons, which are like the block material, farther from the source. All I needed to complete this project were several balloons, a bike pump, and a measuring tape. I began pumping up the first balloon as my certified balloon holder, Nick Martin, made sure no venting occurred at the mouth. With the first balloon, the explosion was loud and the furthest fragment of balloon traveled 35 inches. This first balloon will help create a baseline for when the strength yield increases. I now begin pumping up two balloons, one inside the other, which will increase the pressure needed to overcome the yield strength. For two balloons, there was a slight increase in distance of 48 inches from the origin. This increase is what I expected to happen. Next, I began to pump three balloons as one. This explosion seemed to be much louder than the previous two. Also, there was a big increase in distance, with the furthest piece being 98 inches from the origin. For the last test of four balloons as one, my cheap bike pump began to have some trouble trying to fill the balloon because of the pressure. My balloon holder was now rewarded with a promotion and was able to finish it out for me.
It is back.
Now this freeze frame really illustrates what I was trying to prove. It took so much pressure to finally surpass the yield strength that the air molecules are so tight they are visible, and when released it sent the balloon fragments flying at great speeds. The next still was 0.4 milliseconds later, and the fragments have already traveled a fair distance. What was interesting was the fragments only traveled 76 inches compared to the previous 98 inches. The difference was the weight of the material flying. For the 3-balloon test, the pieces were very small and light, while for the 4-balloon test, the fragments were much bigger and traveled as one. This would be like an eruption throwing out baseball-sized blocks versus SUV-sized blocks. I was pleased with the results of my experiment, and it helped illustrate the relation of yield strength to explosiveness. The magnitude increased greatly from the single balloon to the 4 balloons. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I recommend trying it for yourself.